Hey everyone, what is going on? Elvis here. Today I wanted to share my speed farming monk build. It's also probably one of the best ways to get greater rift keystones as well, and that's what I'm really focused on here today, so let's get started. What I'm going to do is show you some gameplay and talk about the build and the items a little bit later on. Now the first thing that you're going to notice is that I'm running in Torment 6. The reason why I'm running in Torment 6 is because I'm just focusing on greater rift keystones. If you increase the difficulty level, it just adds an unnecessary handicap. The only time that you would is if you're more focused on blood shards instead. But in this particular case, I'm not worried about blood shards. Now, the second thing that you're also going to notice is that I'm not picking up legendary items or the Nephilim globes that drop. Now, the reason why I'm not picking up legendary items is because of the PTR and there's just legendaries everywhere. But what I think we will see when the patch goes live is legendaries drop at a much more slower rate, so you probably will stop and pick them all up. But when it comes to the Nephilim globes, it's worth your time to actually skip them to save your time. It's much more efficient not to pick them up. Now, you do want to not completely avoid them. Pick them up if you can, but every time you kill an elite pack, just stop, run around and pick them all up. It just makes for inefficient gameplay. Only when it comes to speed farming, by the way. Pick them up at any other time. Now, the idea is that I want to keep my cooldown reduction low enough, thanks to some of the gear that I'm using, that I continuously cast Dashing Strike. You will find that shrines also are less effective. Things like shielding shrines have no value. Channeling shrines have pretty much no value. They do reduce the cooldown on your other skills, but you're killing stuff so fast, it doesn't matter. Dashing Strike will be permanently up at all times. Now, your goal is to kill an elite pack every 15 seconds. So you do want to be a little bit more liberal with the way that you kill things. If you're super new to Diablo 3, this might be something to kind of get used to, but it really is a more efficient way to play, even when you're not speed farming anyway, to skip the odd pack or two. Well, in this particular setup, you just want to skip through, it's okay to skip massive amounts of monsters. Very rarely do I get to an end of a rift where I've still got a progression bar to get and I'm at the end of the rift. Very, very rarely does that happen, although it has happened once or twice. Now, what I've also noticed is that this is fantastic for greater rifts as well during the beginning stages of leveling your gems. So when the patch starts and you want to, say, level up all of your legendary gems or try something new out, it's worth going to, say, the Torment 6 to Torment 8 equivalent and speed farming to get those first couple of levels, maybe up to, say, 20 or wherever the gem starts to get to that 80% range. Maybe it's time to start, moving up a little bit. But in the meantime, you are going to smash through your legendary gem leveling and just getting greater keystones in general, which is the whole point of this particular build. There are lots of different ways you can speed farm on the monk, by the way. This is just the build that I've gravitated to the most. I think it's because I do use this build a lot in general anyway. So that's enough about the gameplay. Let's talk about the build and the items that you actually need. Okay, so of course I'm running the Ena's set. I'm just running 5 pieces because I've got the Royal Ring of Grandeur in my Kanai's Cube. Now I'm also running the Cruder's Boots on my character and not in the Kanai's Cube because they're currently bugged on the PTR. If they weren't, I would probably swap them in with Tasker Theo's. We don't need the extra damage right now. Now, these items right here are completely optional. I will go over the items that I am using, by the way, just to share with you, but they're not really optimized right now anyway for speed farming. Let me just talk about them. So I'm running this particular set. I like it because, while standing still, damage is increased by 100%. The thing is, I'm just not standing still enough to take advantage of this particular setup, but I do use this in higher greater rifts anyway, so I'm too lazy to take out the gems, and you're probably going to be the same too. Same goes with this particular item, damage reduction. We obviously don't need damage reduction when we're going through this stuff so quickly. And unity as well. A little bit overkill for Torment 6. Like I said, I'm just lazy and don't want to take them out. If you're going to sit down for an hour and speed farm, then yeah, for sure, go and swap in, Stoner Jordan or whatever you guys want to run. This item, on the other hand, is kind of a must with this particular build. Increase the damage when you pull enemies in with Cyclone Strike for your Mystic allies. It goes up to 200%, by the way. So that covers the items. You can have a look at the legendary gems too. I've been playing around with a couple of different ones, testing, different variations, and I kind of like what I've got going here, but there's definitely space to improve on, I guess. But anyway, the Tasker of Theos. Increase attack speed of your pets by 50%. What you're going to notice when it comes to your Mystic allies when you're running the Tasker of Theos is you won't see them attack 50% faster, but you will see the damage numbers increase. I believe this is because they don't want to show the animations 50% faster. It's probably for server efficiency or something like that, but the damage does increase. You just won't see him attack quicker or anything like that, so keep that in mind. This is the item that makes Dashing Strike work permanently. Your skill cooldowns are reduced by 10 seconds for 15 seconds after killing an elite pack. Now, the way I believe this works is, let's say, for example, Epiphany. After you kill an elite pack, instead of a 60-second cooldown, that now becomes 50 seconds, and then your cooldown reduction gets applied to that 50 seconds. When it comes to Dashing Strike, 10 seconds off, charges, it just works. You just permanently can dash around. So it's very good. Now, the reason why it doesn't work with other skills, like, for example, Serenity, is because it has an internal cooldown before cooldown reduction gets applied. This will always rotate for 3 seconds before any cooldown reduction does get applied. So don't think you're going to get, invincibility if you run this. But yeah. Now, let's jump on to the skills. That pretty much covers the items. I'm running Harmony for the extra defense. Resistance. Now, I'm also running Near Death Experience. It's because I play hardcore. It protects me basically if I lag and I've got an extra chance of staying alive in DC, whatever. If you're playing softcore, swap this out for something else. I'd suggest something like maybe Momentum would be a really good choice. Seize the Initiative. What you have to know about this particular passive when it comes to this build is that movement speed doesn't affect your Dashing Strike. Your attack speed does. So this is very effective at dashing a lot quicker. If you don't have a certain amount of attack speed, it does feel a little bit sluggish when you're dashing around. Yeah. Beacon of Utah, reduce the cooldown by 20%, mainly just for these two skills. Kind of a filler, I guess you could say. Now, what I will mention about this really quickly is that maps dramatically affect how fast you are going to speed farm. If you get like an awkward cave map where your Dashing Strike constantly gets interrupted, it is a little bit awkward. So that is kind of one downside about this particular setup, but yeah, it just happens every now and then. So anyway, let's go over the other skills. Now I'm running Implosion. Basically, it's got a bigger reach. That's why I am using it. I'm running Epiphany, 100% for the Spirit, and on the odd chances, like I mentioned, if you get a cave map where your Dashing Strike cooldown gets knocked off, then it allows you to kind of leap and dash a little bit with Epiphany. I don't need any of the defense or any of the extra bonuses to stun or whatever. So I am running the Fire Rune mainly because it is just that little bit of extra damage. This actually affects breakable items that are around you as well. So you do get extra movement speed bonuses, which again does contribute if Dashing Strike bounces off. Mystic Ally doesn't matter. With this particular set, you get all the runes and all the allies, so it doesn't matter what you choose. Exploding Palm, I'm running Shocking Grasp. I don't want to be sitting around and hitting one monster at a time. I'm just going to come in, drop Shocking Grasp. That's enough. That's all I really need. Yeah, I highly recommend running this one. It spreads the Exploding Palm a lot more efficiently when you're going fast. Now, Dashing Strike, I use Wear the Falling Star. Once again, if it does drop off, I do get a little bit of extra movement speed, but use whatever you like there, guys. Barrage, I guess, would be pretty cool. I don't know, I haven't even played around with Barrage yet. But that's the basic setup. Now, I have forgotten one skill here, and that's this one. And I wanted to talk about this because it's completely optional. Usually when I run this setup, I do actually run Cyclone Strike in my main position and just leave the last skill left over for anything that I want to use. But if you are going to use a Spirit Generator with this build, I'd actually stay away from Static Charge. You just don't have time. You're just not standing around to really get the most out of this particular skill. So if you are going to use a Spirit Generator, you may as well take advantage of something that's going to support your build. Enemies with Crippling Wave take 10% additional damage from all attacks. So this does contribute a little bit, but really not a lot. Other options is Blazing Fist, I guess. That'd be pretty cool too. But yeah, that's about it, guys. That wraps up my speed farming build. See you guys.